You shippers said the word, so now it's time to get into some Cherik Recs here on Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Let's preface this by saying the Cherik / Mutant Husbands / Professor X Magneto fandom is huge and has been continuously active now for a number of years, so there are thousands of fics, tens of thousands, maybe more, so it can be a bit daunting if one is just getting into it. So this vid is going to provide a few recs as well as explore some of the common tropes and tags you will encounter in this fandom. So if you hear a concept you just love or hate, you can adjust your search and tags accordingly, because knowing what you don't like is just as valuable as knowing what you do. We're going to try and focus on tags and tropes that are unique to this fandom, though of course we will be discussing some others. We will try to leave topics such as Mpreg and the Omegaverse for another day, because those topics and some of the others that will be mentioned here are large enough that they could get their own vids. So let's get this started. First off, we have the Holiday Fic Series by Luninosity. This is a series of 12 separate fics framed around different holidays involving Charles, Eric, and the kids from first class celebrating those aforementioned holidays. These fics are a lot of fun, with most being standalone fics, so each one is an all-new adventure wherein these two get to fall in love all over again, and each time in some very different circumstances. What makes this series fun is in each tale you get to explore a lot of the tropes that have become prevalent in this fandom. First off, the ever-popular domestic fic, wherein Charles and Eric serve as surrogate parents to the children and provide a stable home environment full of hijinks and heartfelt moments. There is also a very unique and well-written interplay between telepathic dialogue and the actual spoken, as Luninosity explores the depth of these two's psychic connection. In these fics, you will also find the ever-popular gay mutant road trip tag, which sprung up in honor of the montage of the two recruiting mutants during X-Men First Class, with many fans expanding upon it since the trips must have taken much longer than the montage suggests. It is also a very convenient way to get the characters alone without having to awkwardly write around anybody. On top of that, there are explorations of Charles's troubled childhood and the abuse he suffered at the hands of Cain and his stepfather. As well, we also get to dive into Eric's past pain too. Plus, yes, there's still more, bonus points for an obligatory sex pollen fic, which is more plausible than most, and a body swap fic. Both of those topics will be getting vids of their own because there is a lot to explore with each of these tropes, and they recur across multiple fandoms. These fics are fun reads with some light angst, but if you like your fics extra dark or aren't a fan of the domestic, you may want to keep searching. But if any of this sounds up your alley, check out the Holiday Fic Series. The links for that and all of the rest mentioned will be down below. Next up, we have A Day When We Can Finally Rest by Pocky_/. This fic falls into the tradition of the 5x+1 fic, wherein a scenario is played out 5 times, usually with a change in theme or a resolution in the 6th. It is said that this fic format became popularized in 2001 in the Smallville fandom with a fic called 5 Things That Aren't True by Basingstoke. Though there were earlier instances, for some reason this fic saw an increase in challenges and threads involving this format, and it continues to be popular at the time of this recording, though not quite to the same extent. But every now and again it'll spring up and have a big resurgence. This particular fic follows the evolution of Charles and Eric's relationship throughout the years as they struggle to manage both their causes and cope with their still existing feelings for each other. This fic has a casual ease in their interactions that feels very in character and moves gracefully through the years without feeling the need to insert over-the-top drama, and yet still achieves its goal. Short but definitely sweet, but not for those who want a more action-based narrative. Let's move on to Protective Instinct by Groovyhornbill. This fic enters the realm of the classic de-aged fic, wherein one or more of the protagonists are de-aged to children, and usually something is revealed about the nature of their childhood that shaped them into the adult they have become. It is also an excellent excuse for hijinks of many kinds. In this case, the trope is slightly subverted, and I won't ruin how. It's a fun reversal of dynamics and a play on the domestic fic, placing Raven, Hank, and the rest of the gang in the role of caretakers. Also, bonus points for exploring the use of Cerebro, a machine that many fic authors flat out distrust, and they use this distrust to their advantage. Aside from often backfiring on poor Hank and fanfics and causing Charles untold amounts of grief, it's also the basis for a subgenre of fic, wherein the use of Cerebro strains Charles's powers, causing Eric to need to look after him post his sessions in it. While this is not exactly what is going on in Protective Instinct, we do have the fun of exploring an age-old plot that has been used by sci-fi and comics for many decades. Obviously, if you're not a kid person or find kids in fics and their mannerisms annoying, then this fic probably won't be your cup of tea. Up next, for I Mean to Conquer Troy by 12_pastels. This one is a bit more out there in terms of the changes made and definitely falls firmly within AU territory. Once again, that pesky Cerebro has messed with Charles, and because of it, his school is now unattended. Driven by guilt over causing Charles's paralysis, Eric takes over the school and brings his Brotherhood of Mutants with him, forcing the groups to integrate and confront all kinds of truths about themselves and each other. This is a multi-pairing fic, so its focus is not purely on Charles and Eric. It also contains some smut, which means there are explicit sexual scenes, and the language is not always PC, but it is very interesting, and it's always fun to see different takes on how the story should immediately continue. People in this fandom have written some very intricate and intense AUs. I have refrained from putting any truly out there ones on this list, as they can be a bit overwhelming for people who are new to them. For example, thanks to both Fassbender and McAvoy appearing in prominent period pieces, there are many 19th century AUs around these two. There are also Fantasy Kingdom AUs. I've seen many a fic wherein King Eric needs to get married, and Charles is his arranged marriage. The two have never met, but it's time for Charles to journey across a magical kingdom to meet his sovereign. And some of them stay closer to home. There are many modern day AUs or without power AUs, for those who love these too, but aren't so keen on the fantasy elements of the narrative. So again, there's really something out there for everybody. Unless you're not a Cherik shipper, then none of this is for you. Finally, we have Us by Pangea, a multi-chapter fic detailing the trope wherein Charles is kidnapped by the government, who feel that he is too dangerous to be allowed to roam free, let alone run a school full of mutants. It's up to Eric and the children to go rescue Charles, but what will they find when they get to him? This fic deals out some severe physical and emotional wump. Wump being the emotional or physical abuse of a character within a story, usually more so than the average amount that is dished out. It also gives us a glimpse into the less commonly utilized Dark Charles tag, a tag which symbolizes that the usually kind-hearted Professor X is about to unleash the full extent of his ability with absolutely no moral compass. Fun to explore, but utterly terrifying at the same time. This one is very dark, so if that makes you uncomfortable, then it may be best to stay clear. As previously stated, this is just something to hopefully help people dip their toes in, maybe see what there is out there in the fandom. There are so many fics out there and many different avenues to explore. Hopefully this list just gave you some small idea as to where to start looking, or where not to start looking. If you need more recs, just do a search for Cherik Recs, and there is many a live journal and Tumblr post dedicated to this topic, most with completely different fics spanning many eras. People are always updating these things and finding new fics because more and more are constantly being written. I've also made sure that all the fics on this list are complete, because the struggle is very real when you are halfway through a fic and realize that it hasn't been updated since 2012. And you will probably never know the ending. Sad times. Also, if you guys like this, I'd be more than happy to do a part 2 or to do it for some other pairing or fandom. Just let me know. I like hearing the word. What are your guys' favorite fics that you have read? Share them down below so everyone can get in on some great fics. Also, let me know what your guys' favorite trends are in this fandom. How do you like your Cherik? Let me know all of that and more down below. This has been Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check out social media to stay up to date, and as always, stay tuned, for there are as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky.